The other day we discussed the theory of Season 7 and how strange it was that we knew next to nothing about what was happening next for Modern Warfare despite the, at the time, countdown of less than 24 hours remaining on the seasonal battle pass. The entire situation was incredibly perplexing to me and honestly looked like just this big question mark that from an official capacity we still haven't even heard anything from Infinity Ward regarding the subject, and we've kind of had to figure out everything for ourselves. So today I want to discuss what's going on with the dubbed Season 7, or rather what it's turned out to be, more so just an extension for Season 6 and that carryover then until Season 1 for Cold War. So that said, as we go along, let me know your thoughts down below. Did you think an extension would happen? Did you think we'd round immediately into a Season 7 or anything in between? Let me know. As well, if you are new to the channel, do be sure that subscribe button as we're on the road to 400,000 subscribers, and we'll keep you up to date with all things Black Ops Cold War, Warzone, and of course Modern Warfare where applicable. But anyways, let's jump into it. So really the big question mark going into earlier this week was what would happen to Modern Warfare? Because as we talked about earlier in the week, we had that battle pass that was counting down to reset not just 24 hours later from when we had that discussion, which was kind of odd given that we of course still were just over a week out from an entire launch of a brand new game. But also the fact that we saw progressive builds of items yet to be released that were new, continually getting more and more complete throughout their updates, also was incredibly weird. So right off the bat, it was a strange tug of war of why it could happen versus why it probably wouldn't. It was a coin flip at the very beginning. But when you add in the fact that probably many are playing Modern Warfare still because Cold War is admittedly hit or miss in its reception, it's very plausible to believe that at least something, even if not another season, is going to be coming to Modern Warfare. Infinity Ward's lack of communication didn't really help either in this whole what's going on sort of thought. And even to this day, what we discuss about this extension of Season 6 was never actually officially stated. We just simply know about it because that's what we can see in game. But what we've landed on is that Season 7 or a DLC drop did not happen when it was initially slated for, but is still possible for in the near future. Instead of seeing a rollover to Season 7 when that timer went down, we actually saw it stay at 0 seconds left on the battle pass for a little bit, and then a slight in-game update to add an additional 2 weeks to that timer, to the point now where if you look at it in-game, it doesn't even look like that whole brink of the season end fiasco ever really even happened. So the new end date for Season 6 in Modern Warfare is Tuesday, December 8th. Now awkwardly situated 2 days before the launch of Season 1 for Cold War, and then the integration that will follow across the 3 main supported titles into Warzone, and then the ranking system also coming into Modern Warfare. So for the time being, if you're like me, if you didn't hit max rank on the final season of main year support, and you didn't complete that battle pass, you do still have a little bit more time if you want to jump over and do so. But the biggest mystery of what will happen next still persists, but it also opens up even more possibilities. But first, what actually changed with this Season 6 extension? Did we get anything at all? Well, outside of just your standard traditional playlists and things that you'd see on a regular weekly refresh, not so much. Everything that came out of this update here for the air quote extension was quite literally a playlist refresh and some shop updates. For the playlist side of things on MP, we had Ground War, Blueprint, Gunfight, Face Off, Infected, and a Season 5 and 6 Mosh Pit. On the Warzone side of things, we had Battle Royale introducing again solos, duos, trios, and quads, nothing out of the ordinary there, with Plunder, Blood Money making a return as well. On the shop side of things, we saw, I believe, 4 bundles introduced here at this, in which we had the Tracer Pack Sakura Edition, which for 1,800 COD points came along with a RAM and AUG Sakura Tracer Pack, matching that of the design that we saw earlier in the year on a Kilo build. Then we saw the FSB bundle finally added in. I don't know the whole story behind this, but I know that a lot of people were wondering when this one in particular would be coming. I think it was actually pulled from the Battle Pass, if I'm not mistaken, and then was found as a shop bundle in the game files for months on end. So that's finally there now as well. There's the Power Chord bundle with the Tin Lizzy ISO variant, in which that one looks pretty cool, and the Seafarer New Horizon Origin Blueprint also looking pretty cool. Those were added in, but that's really all that we got for an extension. But coming back to it, what's next? What is still up on deck? Because this situation where the season is set to end just 2 days before the integration that changes some fundamentals of Modern Warfare is definitely a weird turn of events. Now, this is just me throwing out theories and what ifs, but that 2-day gap is still quite the question mark, right? Well, we'll come back to that in a second, but this is kind of now matching up with the seasonal launch for Cold War and Warzone. This kind of answers some of the questions we had regarding, well, why would they try and fit a new content drop in 1 month before a huge game-changing update? Because now, they're not really doing that. Theoretically speaking, if we get Cold War and Warzone having mainline and Battle Pass support, Modern Warfare can still implement either its own Battle Pass items in application, or at least drop a few items here to make it worth playing, because one big key thing to remember is that Modern Warfare also progresses your overall level in Warzone and in Black Ops Cold War. It's a shared progression system between all three, meaning that if nothing were to happen, you can play and progress your rank in Modern Warfare, but there's no real incentive to play. Nothing is new, so why would you want to do that? So to kind of combat that, maybe they add in their own battle pass, maybe they add in some items that you can grind out for a specific playtime that make that worth it. And I think that could explain the content that we've seen progression on in the back end through data mined items and such, but the big question still is that 2-day window that is entirely blank. That is such a strange factor, because unless they extend that period another 2 days, that just seems odd, right? To have an announced 0-day period where there's nothing going on for 2 days, unless this is when an event kicks off. This is a big what if and a big theory, but having talked with my good friend Immortal, we were chatting about this and there were some things that seem to make sense here at this. You remember that data mined Rebirth event in Warzone? Remember how those data mined intel missions referenced an island off the coast of Verdansk? Do you remember how Rebirth Island was found in the game files as a repurposed version of Blackout's Alcatraz? Now put that all together and then realize 2 days later on the 10th is the new Warzone experience's launch. It's not explicitly stated in that marketing, but if you can derive the name Vozrozhdeniya Island out of the redacted text, and you can recognize where that comes from, well, it's the real-life counterpart to where Rebirth Island from the Black Ops lore was actually based upon. So here's the big what if. Here's the big tinfoil hat theory. What if in that 2-day window, that's the Rebirth event that was in the game files for quite some time here, similar to the Know Your History event. When that happened, we had Cold War officially revealed to the world, right? We saw a playlist update, an event that was actually playable. You could go through, do a couple of things as a scavenger hunt, then actually get some stuff that's unlockable in the game, and then you got to see the trailer, the worldwide reveal trailer for Call of Duty Black Ops Cold War for about a 2-day span or so, where it was on and off in playlist and when it would show up. So what if this event is just like that? Playable, and then once completed, plays a trailer for the new Warzone map and experience, albeit a secondary map, not necessarily a brand new Size of Verdansk map, but I think that's incredibly plausible, where we go from maybe seeing this Rebirth event actually happening, teasing what is going to be a new version, or rather new experience on a more small-scale, condensed variation of Warzone on a different map, plus also then potentially leading up to then, after that 2-day window where this event is playable, perhaps some release of new content in Modern Warfare to keep you playing if you're interested in Modern Warfare, and maybe not so much Warzone or Cold War. You can end up progressing and taking advantage of this newly integrated ranking system that then goes across all 3 main titles. That's something that actually makes a lot of sense here to me, and while it may have been a lot tougher to see if we didn't see this extension happen, I don't know, while it is still a theory, I kind of think this makes a lot of sense here. At least that's me. Maybe you guys disagree, and if so, feel free to let me know your thoughts down below. That's where we're gonna wrap it up. I just want to talk a little bit about what's happening here, this extension. If you guys missed it, I know that there were probably a lot of people asking, why is this at 0, even though it's not there now, but love to get your thoughts and feedback down there in the comment section down below. Hopefully you enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Black Ops Cold War, Warzone, and of course, Modern Warfare where applicable. We'll keep you up to date with all of it. If you're interested, hit the subscribe button. If you also want to follow me over on Twitter and Instagram, those are the best places to get connected outside of YouTube. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, links in the description below. But let's end another way. Thank you guys all so much for watching. My name is Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care and peace.